And we go straight on with the business news. Stephen's joining us here on set. Stephen, you're starting in the US, aren't you? President Biden beginning negotiation with Republicans. This is over his economic rescue plan.
Yeah, that's right. Joe Biden spent 2 hours with a group of Republican senators discussing stimulus plans on Monday. He's proposing a plan worth $1.9 trillion. The Republicans have countered with their plan worth less than a third of that. $618 billion is their proposals. There are differences across many issues, including that key one of more direct payments to American households. Joe Biden wants to give $1,400 to those that earn up to $75,000 a year, while the senators from the Republican Party want that payment to be just $1,000 and have capped the maximum qualifying income at $50,000 a year. It's the start of what will be tricky negotiations, but the tone at least appears to have been positive.
It was a very good exchange of views. I wouldn't say that we came together on a package tonight. No one expected that in a 2-hour meeting. But what we did agree to do is to follow up and talk further at the staff level and amongst ourselves and with the president and vice president on how we can continue to work together on this very important issue.
Now, the price of silver, it soared on Monday. This is in the latest offshoot of the GameStop investor friendly, isn't it?
So silver had its biggest one-day jump in a decade and finished trading at the highest level in 8 years when trading wrapped up in New York on Monday. Today, we're seeing prices fall a little bit, but holding on to much of those gains. The surge came after the idea was posted on the Wall Street Bets Reddit thread, which of course was the source of the GameStop frenzy as well. Some market analysts warning, though, that these kind of investments could be a risky bet for some.
So the silver thing is even, I'd say it's all very flimsy and something that investors who think they're going to be riding into it, they should be careful. Because again, a lot of these people, what we're doing now is we're going to the tables and we're betting. You might as well be doing that. You might as well be going to Vegas and having a bet. So you need to be careful if you're someone who actually is looking and worried about their dollars.
Now, that trading app at the centre of the GameStop frenzy has raised another $2.4 billion in new funding. It's the second capital infusion in a week for Robinhood. The brokerage needed the extra cash to handle the huge increase in demand for its services. Robinhood had been forced to restrict trading in certain hot stocks last week because of the high volume of trades that were being requested on the platform.
Let's have a look at the markets now. Stephen, what's happening?
Well, we've got gains on most Asian markets today. There's lots of optimism out there from investors over that stimulus in the United States. Markets interpreting those talks as a good sign in that direction. Gains, as you can see, across the board. The Hang Seng in Hong Kong and the Kospi in Seoul both up by over 1%.
Now, we're going to talk about working from home, something that Stephen had to experience for a little bit at France 24. Didn't particularly enjoy that, did you, Stephen?
Not so much, no.
I think we have to say. Well, people are trying to find new ways to improve their remote working situation.
So the government advice here is that the maximum number of people possible should be working from home, but that's tricky for many, and it's created a new market for flexible rental spaces to replace the traditional office. Ellen Gainsford has the story.
Working from home can have its limitations, like a lack of space to welcome clients and little social interaction. Businesses in France are responding to these needs. Before the pandemic, Geoffrey Ichbier looked after holiday rentals. But faced with a fall in demand, he's converted the bedrooms to offices.
Beaucoup moins de touristes, moins de voyageurs professionnels, et on s'est dit, pourquoi pas proposer à des gens qui sont en télétravail, c'est le logement saisonnier.
This entrepreneur uses an office to meet clients and offer training.
À mon domicile, c'est pas possible. Mon mari travaille également à mon domicile. Il a des réunions toute la journée et donc je ne peux pas offrir à mes clients un espace de calme.
The room costs €160 a day, but she thinks it's worth it.
C'est vrai que c'est un investissement, ceci dit, je décide le jour pendant lesquels je prends l'appartement, les jours pendant lesquels je ne le prends pas.
This company has also adapted its business model since the COVID crisis. While it used to offer meeting rooms, now it's switched to a co-working space.
En français, on parle d'espace partagé, mais ce n'est pas juste une question de se poser, d'avoir un espace, c'est vraiment du coworking. Donc il y a un échange de pratiques, il y a des échanges humains aussi avec les personnes qui sont présentes, et je pense que c'est un enrichissement.
It costs €18 a day to use the office, a fee that's paid for her by the job centre in a pilot scheme that promotes co-working. It's a change to office culture that could be here to stay long after the pandemic.
Going to take you quickly back to that GameStop story because, Stephen, finally from him, filmmakers are already writing the story, if you like, of that frenzy on the stock markets in recent weeks, aren't they?
Yeah, the Wall Street Journal reporting that both Netflix and the studio Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer have developed or are developing films around that GameStop investor story. It'll tell the tale of how a group on a Reddit message board banded together to boost the shares of the video game retailer and other companies, including the cinema chain AMC. Now, Netflix, the journal says, is in talks with the screenwriter Mark Bowl, who wrote Zero Dark 30, while MGM is working with a manuscript from an unpublished book by Ben Mesrich. Not surprising it's unpublished because this story is not over, and we're waiting to see what the next twist of it will be. But apparently the filmmaker's already on it.
Maybe there'll be a second film in a few years' time.
Just to get the last
next
bit. Yeah.
bit. Wow, it's amazing. It is an incredible story. You can see it making a good film too. Thank you very much, Stephen. Stephen with Business on France 24.